Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Jeff White Fitness Solutions. Thanks for checking out this video today. And today, we're going to talk about something very important. We're going to talk about money and finances. And this is going to be a financial fitness video. Now, we all see what's going on in the world. We see how the economy is crashing, things are getting more expensive, and people are really struggling. But some of you may wonder, how is it I'm struggling, but the rich, they seem to be unaffected? How is it that they can just stay rich and keep doing well no matter how bad things are? I'm struggling, but they're thriving. I don't get it. Well, there's a strategy to that, and there's a procedure that they follow to get where they are. And I firmly believe that we all can do it too if we just follow some of these principles that I'm going to go through today. So we're going to talk about how the rich stay rich and the top assets that you need to have generational wealth. Now, see, generational wealth is exactly that, generational wealth, because what people may not remember or realize is that economies, they go up and down all the time. They go through cycles. They have their up times and their down times. And right now, America and a lot of the world is going through a down time. But not everyone is going to lose everything. So we're going to talk about that today. So let me know what you guys think. Leave me a comment about this video. Let me know what I left out or what you think is going to be good for generational wealth. And last but certainly not least, please like, share, and subscribe this video because this is going to be a good one. All right, guys, you ready? Let's do it. All right, guys, real quick. So let's define generational wealth for the purpose of this video. And it is assets or resources passed down from one generation to the next, and they can provide a financial advantage for future generations, influencing their lifestyle, opportunities, and wealth trajectory. All right, so that is a definition that I want you to keep in mind as we go through these slides. All right, guys, let's go. Okay, so let's get started with the first one, and it's probably the most obvious. That would be cold hard cash. Cash is king. Money talks. People listen. Cash rules everything around me. Dollar bill, y'all. Cash, the number one generational wealth asset. And there are many reasons why, pretty self-explanatory, of course. Cash can be easily transferred down from one generation to the next generation. And it can be acquired in several ways, actually, via savings or life insurance. Now, let me say that life insurance one is a big one. And I don't think it gets discussed enough as an investment strategy. And I say that because I remember when I was a rookie stockbroker many years ago, I was blown away at how many new accounts were opened with large sums of money. $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, $750,000 accounts. And what made this special was these accounts were being opened by relatively young people, 35 and under. And I didn't understand it because coming from the south side of Chicago, I just wasn't used to that. And then, I learned there was some life insurance, and it just opened up a whole nother world for me. And I've been going down that rabbit hole ever since. So basically, their parents, their grandparents, whoever, they were smart enough to create these life insurance policies, and they wanted to make sure that their heirs were set up and didn't start from ground zero. And it's so simple. It's brilliant, actually. But the thing about it, though, is you can't just give people this money and then just let them run amok. They have to have a strategy, have to have a plan, and they have to understand how money works and the importance of not only having money, but making your money work for you. So they have to have that investment strategy, which is why it's important that people are taught these things at a young age. So even if you don't have money now, when you do get that money, you will know what to do with it. And one thing that you can do, which is one of the best strategies out there that again does not get discussed, is you want to use the money you receive to buy more assets that generate revenue. So in other words, say you get $100,000 or $200,000 or whatever, instead of taking that money and buying cars and clothes and going on fancy trips, You want to buy an asset or assets, plural, that can generate revenue for you. You want to buy something that you can own that makes money. And the money you receive from those assets, that's the money you use to buy your fancy cars, your clothes, and your trips. So you spent money to buy stuff. No, actually, let me backtrack. First thing you do is you buy the asset with the money. And with the money you get from the asset, that's the money you use to buy your stuff. So you still have money coming in and you still own an asset while you're still having your fun. So you gotta do your business first, and then you can have your fun. Very important investment strategy that everyone must understand. So don't spend your money when you get it. You gotta have a plan. Get those assets. Okay, so that's number one, cash. Let's see what's next. All right, generational wealth, asset number two, and we're gonna stay with the cash aspect of it, and that would be investments. Things like stocks, bonds, real estate investment trusts, crypto, mutual funds, and things of that nature. A lot of the stock market. And a benefit is to have investments that can pay a dividend. And the reason why is because those dividends can be reinvested right back into the stock, or you can live off of those dividends. That's another thing I saw when I was a stockbroker, how so many people were living off their Procter and Gamble or ExxonMobil checks. They get quarterly dividends, or in some instances you get a monthly dividend. And I was just amazed. I'm like, there's a whole world out there that I knew nothing about. And of course, they were passed down from generation to generation. And of course, the key with generational wealth is to hold on to the asset. You got to hold on to that asset and not get greedy. And if you want to get quote unquote greedy, you take the money, the revenue from the asset, and you use that money to buy your toys, your trinkets, or buy more assets again that can generate even more revenue for you. And if you continue to do that, then you really have a lot of money coming in from multiple sources, which can really help increase that generational wealth as well. So yes, definitely hold on to the investment and allow it to continue to grow. Now, I'm going to plug myself here. As you can see there on the right, that's a picture of me and one of my books. It is titled Invest for Success, Millionaire Wealth Strategies Not Taught in School. And that book is available on Amazon. And I wrote that book partly because of my life as a financial advisor and the things I learned after I left the business about money. There is so much that's not taught to the average person about money that it's mind-blowing. And I'm just so happy that I learned these things, and I'm trying to implement as many as I can myself personally too. So anyway, that book is on Amazon. It's available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook as well. So check that out. So that is general wealth asset number two. Let's go to number three. Next asset is land and real estate. Land and real estate. These are probably the cornerstone of having generational wealth, because rental property can provide a steady income stream. Now, I know that I have, a picture of a house here for rent, but you have to remember, land can be used all types of ways. You can have a land that has nothing on it, and you can rent it out as a parking lot. There's so much you can do with land. Not only that, if you have a house, and let's just say the house is paid for, keep it in the family. So that way people always have a place to stay. So that way people can save money if they live in the house. And again, passed down from generation to generation. It could be a place where people can go to get back on their feet, and then when they're ready, they can get their own place. It's just a great way just to have a home base for the family. If you're living on tough times, but if you have a house that's paid for, and you can find a way to just pay your property taxes and your insurance, you're good. So land is very important. And also, you got to remember, property values tend to increase over time. Of course, as I said before, the economy goes in cycles. The same thing happens with real estate. But over time, property values tend to go up, which can increase the equity in the house, which can also provide other benefits for you as well. So having land is critical to having generational wealth. Number four is one that's close to my heart because I think owning a business is key to being not only financially free, but free, period. I know there's a lot of work with owning a business, but it gives you so much opportunity to literally write your own ticket. And I've always wanted to my own business, and I still have a passion for that. I am self-employed now, and I know everyone can't do it, but it's something that everyone should at least know about. And I think it's even more important today than ever because of the climate that we're in. A lot of people have lost their jobs, they're unemployed, and they're looking for work. Now, my issue with the way the world is now, especially in America, is that the school system didn't really teach you how to create your own job. It just taught you how to look for jobs and get a job. It didn't teach you how to create one. So we have a lot of people out here who are pretty much lost and don't know what to do. But if you had that entrepreneurial mindset, you might be a little more you might be a little more inclined to try to do something on your own. And that's why owning a business is key to generational wealth. And before I even really get started here, you can see there on the right, I have another book that I wrote. It is Planting Seeds, a Children's Guide to Entrepreneurship. I believe children are more receptive to certain things, and just the thought that they can own a business, you put that in their minds ahead of time before they get in school and just drill into their head that you gotta go to school and get a job. They may be more receptive to that and know that they have options in life. So check that book out also. It is available on Amazon, and that is in English, French, and Spanish as well. Okay, so own a business. That's generational wealth asset number four. And here's a benefit that many people may not really think about, but businesses can provide employment to family and heirs, which is huge. As again, in this climate, people are losing their jobs left and right. If you own a business, you can hire your family to work in the business. And we see that all the time. I don't know about you guys, but I go to a Chinese restaurant around my house and I see generations working in there. I see the mom, I see the dad, I see grandparents, I see the kids. I see the whole spectrum, literally from age 8 to 80 in that Chinese restaurant, running that business. That is their business. And the young kids, they see the ins and out of that business, and they may or may not continue working the business as they get older, but they have the know-how and the ability and the mindset that, hey, I could run my own business too. So it's a great thing. Another thing that owning a business does is it helps provide control over your finances, because basically you set your prices. You want to raise your prices, you can go right ahead. You control that. You need a raise, okay, you give yourself a raise. You got to make sure your business is on point, but if you want to give yourself a raise, you have the opportunity to do so, provided your business allows you to do that. Now, another thing you got to remember though, if you're an employee, you can't pass your job down to your beneficiaries. If you're a greeter at Walmart, you can't pass that down to your kids. You can't pass that desk job in the cubicle down to your kids. If anything, you will get laid off and your job will be replaced with a robot at some point in time. So look at it that way. You want to protect your kids, create a business and give them the opportunity to land a job as soon as they get out of school or whatever, or then they can eventually run it themselves. Now, the key in all of this is during downtimes, you want to make sure your business provides a product or service that people need, not something they want, that people need. Now, sometimes these type of businesses may not be the most glamorous or exciting, but if people need it, they will buy it. And if they're going to spend their money, why not spend their money with you? So a business is key to generational wealth. You can pass it down to your grandkids, your great grandkids, And that way you have money, you have wealth, generational wealth. And owning a business, a profitable business, is essential. Okay, let's go to number 5. All right, so here's something that a lot of people may not think about. When you hear someone saying they're going to start a business or they have a business, for the average person, that thought is they started the business from scratch. They started from ground zero and built it from their own bootstraps all the way up to where they are. And while you can definitely do that, that is not the only option for you. You can buy an existing business. And there are many reasons why you may be able to buy an existing business. The first is the owner may be retiring. They may have had the business for 10, 20, 30 years. They're getting older and they're ready to retire. And they want to enjoy their retirement years. But unfortunately, they don't have anyone to pass the business down to. So instead of just closing the business, what do? They just decide to sell it. And I have here, you can see just some examples. I literally just went online as I was making this video and just found these businesses and just pasted them here. I mean, and you can see that. I mean, the businesses are out there. Again, this is just something that's just not talked about. People don't talk about this stuff, but you can literally go out and buy a business. Now, the key, of course, is you want to buy businesses that are profitable. So you want to make sure you look at that business, go over the numbers, look at the books, and make sure that it is making money, and you see that it can continue to make money. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. I'll be honest with you guys. I want to open a tire repair shop. That's what I want to do. I want a tire repair shop. Have you ever gotten a nail in your tire and you needed to get it patched or plugged and you like, oh, let me go get it done. You go to that little small, little rinky dink tire repair shop. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want because that's in demand. And that's what I want. You know, if you need to buy tires, they sell used tires over there. You know, times are tough. People just need to get what they can get. I want a chain of tire repair shops. That's exactly what I want. That is my goal. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but it gets the job done. And that's exactly what I want. So you got to have a plan, you got to have a strategy. And even if you can't do it right now, just know that when the time is right, when the opportunity presents itself, I will be ready. So this is all about just planting those seeds. It's not about saying you got to go do it tomorrow, but when you have the opportunity, you want to get ready. So again, this is easier than starting a business from scratch. You can buy a business. You don't even have to change the name of the business. You don't have to change the employees in there. You can just take control, let them continue to keep running the business if it's doing well, and that's it. Period. You don't even have to work in the business itself. Literally buy the business, make sure everything is good, and then let them continue to run it. Now, of course, there's a little bit more to it, but that's the bare bones basics. And of course, you can get bank financing to buy businesses also. So don't think you have to start a business from scratch. You can buy an existing business. Find out what interests you or what looks like is the most profitable or the best option for you financially, and go for it. All right. Generational wealth asset number 5 is intellectual property. Now, these can include a wide variety of things such as books, music, inventions, copyrights, trademarks, logos, patents, and so on. Now, again, I'm going to keep plugging myself until I can't plug anymore. And as you can see here, I have a picture of myself again, and these are 3 books that I've written. I've written 11 books in total. So I have intellectual property here as well. And those are just 3 of my books in a success series. Those are available on Amazon also. But that is my intellectual property. And Lord willing, I'm hoping that these books can continue to sell long after I'm gone, and my son can take over the business of my books. And there you go, generational wealth. You can do it too. If you're a musician, think of something, create something. You can do it. It's no law saying you can't. Use your imagination to come up with something that you can do. Anything. And you can generate revenue for years based off your intellectual property. And as I said before, you got to have a strategy, because these revenues can be used to buy more assets that can help increase generational wealth. So if you have a plan, just start working on the plan, even if it's just day one and you don't have really anything set up yet. You can do it over time. As I said, I've written 11 books, and it took time to write those books. I started out with 0 books, but over time I have my books. And the same thing can happen to you. I don't know about you guys, but I've noticed that time seems to be flying. It's already April 2025. I honestly remember when it was turning into the year 2000. I mean, that's 25 years ago. And it seems as though time is just flying by. And one thing you don't want to do as you get older, you do not want to look back on your life and have any regrets. Do not go through life and then look back and say, wow, I wish I would have at least tried. Do not do that to yourself, because once it's gone, and regret will eat at you and just destroy you from within. So if there's something you really want to do, now's the time to at least get started. Consistency is key. Slow and steady wins the race. And now, with the way the environment, the economy, and the world is, you got to have a sense of urgency to at least get started and put in some effort to do what you got to do. All right. So if you can write books, please do it. If you can play an instrument, play that instrument. If you have some type of talent, find a way to make that into your intellectual property, and start today. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of the list. And number 6 is last, but it's definitely not least, and that is precious metals. I'm talking things like gold and silver. Now, I want to say that in America, gold and silver are the best kept secret, because gold and silver are real money, but this is not taught in our school system. Gold and silver are real money. They have been used as money for thousands of years, and they have never gone to zero. However, things like the US dollar and other fiat currencies, they eventually lose their purchasing power, and they have all eventually gone to zero. Now, the dollar clearly hasn't gone to zero yet. Will it go to zero? If history repeats itself, yes, it will. When will this happen? No one knows. But if you take a look at this this picture that I have here, you can see how the purchasing power of the dollar has drastically decreased. And even if you don't believe the picture, ask yourself, are things more expensive today than they were 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years ago? If the answer is yes, then that shows you that the purchasing power of the dollar is decreasing. Now, why it's decreasing? We could spend a whole day talking about that, so we won't. But can we agree that the purchasing power of the dollar is decreasing? Yes or no? If you can agree with that, then fine. Then you can understand you should be receptive to finding other ways to protect your wealth. And one way is to invest in gold and silver. Now, today is, what is today's date here? Today is Wednesday, March 16th, 2025. And as I make this video, you can see I have a real-time price of gold and silver. Gold is up literally $102 at the time of me making this video. I want you to let that sink in. Gold is up $102 today as I make this video. This is an all-time high. When you see gold at such high numbers like that, that means the dollar is in trouble. That means people are losing faith and confidence in the dollar, and they are looking for other places to put their money. And gold and silver are two places that money is typically placed. Gold and silver are real money, and that is how people are protecting their assets, and especially wealthy people. They will hold gold and pass it down from generation to generation. And also, there's another strategy for you. That gold and silver can be used to buy assets when the currency, the fiat currency, crashes. So look at it like this. If things get too expensive, and you really, let's use real estate for example. The real estate market can crash, but if the dollar doesn't have much purchasing power, you may not be able to buy that house. You may not be able to buy that land. This is especially true if the banks are unwilling to finance, but the property is still on sale. What if you have some precious metals, some gold and silver, that still retain their value? Think about that. If you have gold and silver that still retain their value, you increase your chances of buying that property. In addition, yes, you used your gold and silver to buy it, but with the revenue that you're getting from that asset, that land or whatever it is, you use the revenue from those assets to buy more gold and silver. So you repeat the process. See, there's a strategy here, and this is how and why they maintain generational wealth. They don't just spend their money on any frivolous thing. They have a strategy, and that strategy includes buying assets. So as I said before, I want to buy a tire shop, and there are other things I want to do. But one thing I am doing right now is I am slowly accumulating gold and silver. I'm slowly accumulating gold and silver. When the time is right, I will use some of my precious metals to buy more assets. You gotta have a strategy, people. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Have a strategy, have a plan. Be ready to implement that plan when the time is right. All right, guys, so that is my list here. There are some things I left off, but if you think of some others, please feel free to leave them in comments, like, fine art, things of that nature. Those are considered generational wealth too. But thanks for checking out this video today. I hope you learned something. If you want more information about things of this nature, check out my online course. I have online courses as well, and I have one here. It's on Udemy, and it's titled The 9 to 5, How to Make a Living, How to Retire Early with Passive Income. It's a great course. Check it out. So basically, change your mindset, everyone. Change your mindset, change your life. Have a long-term plan, but don't forget to educate your family about generational wealth so they don't squander it after you're long gone. And make sure you learn everything you can about the different types of generational wealth and find the ones that are right for you. And just start with one asset and then gradually accumulate more. Remember, the race is not to the swift, so you want to make sure you keep going. Don't stop, have a plan, and you can get this done. But again, start today. Do not wait. Get your plan together, and you can make this happen. All right, guys, thanks for watching this video. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one, all right? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace.